Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central.
Well, I'm not going to try to screw it up anymore. Welcome to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show on iHeart Radio. Coming up, Hal Sharp, Texas Triumph Registry. You into Triumphs? He's the guy to talk to. Konrad's going to have the popular This Week in Auto History, and we'll get you updated on the stories making car news this week. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. We welcome back King Konrad DeLong. Jeffrey Zekin is out this week, a little under the weather. Get well quick. We'll see you next weekend at the big race, the big go down there in Baytown. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us on this Saturday, and it is a great Saturday here in Southeast Texas. Holy Week weekend. Thank you all for being with us. All right, time now to shift gears, and we're going to put on our British green racing helmet, and we're going to talk to Mr. Hal Sharp. He's with the Texas Triumph Registry. Hal, how are you?
I'm doing well, Don. Good morning.
Good morning to you. Thanks for joining us today. The Texas Triumph Registry. So do you just register cars there, or do you actually, is it a club, or what is it?
Well, the Texas Triumph Register is a car club. It was established in 1981, which means last year we celebrated our 40th anniversary.
Oh, wow.
You don't have to rub it in about how old we are. We already know that.
Well, I won't go there.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Our club is actually the largest Triumph club in the nation. We're a part of our national organization is the Vintage Triumph Register. And here in Houston, we have over 200 family members in our club. 40 or 50 of which are really active.
Well, I watched a show, one of the umpteen thousand car shows that I watch on Motor Trend TV, and in the shop was a Triumph. And, back in my day when I was a kid and, all enthralled with everything automotive, the Triumph actually stood above all of the other British imports to me. And I don't know why. I guess I just like the shape of the car.
To me, it was typically six-cylinder versus the others, which are all fours.
Yeah. Yep. But, there was a little bit of a sportier design with the Triumphs than it was with the other cars. Am I wrong, Hal?
No, you're correct. Actually, in the early 1950s, Sir John Black took over the leadership of the Standard Motor Company and brought a whole new philosophy toward the design. And that started the models of Triumph that came out that have the very appeal that you're talking about, the TR2, the TR3, ultimately TR4s, and by the time they got to the TR250, which was the first time they introduced the straight six-cylinder engine, they were all quite attractive cars, and they all performed very, very well on the world racing circuit.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine with a GT6, and absolutely loved that car.
That
was such a fun car.
We've got a couple of those in our club.
And then Ron Stein, I'm assuming, is a member of your club.
Oh, Ron Stein is, I guess he could be considered one of the godfathers of our club. For sure.
And he has his Stag, I believe, the V8 powered Stag. That's his Triumph of choice.
Yeah. Is the Spitfire associated with Triumph?
Oh, absolutely. Actually, I think Spitfire was probably the model that they probably manufactured the most of over the run of its years.
Well, if for no other reason, I mean, you got to love the name, the Triumph Spitfire.
It had a lot of purpose to that name.
And what years was the Spitfire made? Do you recall?
Not being a Spitfire owner myself,
1962 to 1980.
I know they came out in the probably mid 70s and ran all the way into the 80s. So probably almost a 10-year run.
Yeah, when Don asked, I went on Wikipedia and it says 1962 to 1980. I didn't realize it was around that early, and it was designed by Giovanni Michelotti.
Right.
Don't get me going on the pronunciation. It
Yeah.
sounds right.
Michelotti designed the TR4 and the TR250 as well, and then they hired Carmen to design to update the TR4 into what we know as the TR6.
My kind of my all-time favorite Triumph might not be the favorite Triumph of Triumph owners, because I'm a huge wedge fan. The TR8 and the TR7. I just thought that was such an advanced design that cut across automotive design. It really was unusual for the day.
Oh, they broke new ground with the wedge shape and aerodynamics, and they were very productive on the world's race circuits.
And if I remember correctly, Bob Tullis was the guy who campaigned a lot of the Triumphs back in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, Bob Tullius. Route 44.
Yeah. So is the Triumph Car Company still in business?
No, they went under in the early to mid 80s. In fact, during the last almost 6 to 8 years of their life, they were in pretty big financial trouble, and it showed up in the ultimate quality and reliability of the cars they were building. Particularly TR7 suffered the most.
Can you still get parts for these cars?
Yes, there are numerous outlets where we buy our parts, mail order parts. There are a couple actually in the UK. There are 3 here in the United States that we can order things and have parts overnight. Many of the parts, companies that actually purchase the original dies, so you can get OEM parts that were made off of the original dies. Others, the rest of the parts are primarily aftermarket replacements, and many that are upgrades. There's a gentleman in Pennsylvania, Richard Good, who many of us buy our performance parts from, he's a Purdue engineer who turned his passion for engineering into his TR6 racing program. And he races and tests everything that he designs and manufactures. And when you buy a part from Richard Good, it fits and it works well.
It's a good part.
Thank you. I knew you were going to go there.
Somebody had to.
Yeah. So what kind of Triumph do you have, Hal?
I have a 1976 TR6.
Do you like it? Do you love it?
I do. Yeah, I've had the car about 11 years, and it was drivable when I bought it. Not really great, but I've done a lot to it. I've completely replaced the suspension with performance springs, sway bars, all of those things. Put a limited slip differential, CV joints in the half shafts, rebuilt the engine about 6 years ago, shaved the head, boosted compression, get a little bit more horsepower out of it. And it actually performs much, much better now than it would have out of the box as a stock car.
So tell us the truth. Is the valve cover painted like a Union Jack?
Is the valve cover what?
Painted like a Union Jack, the British flag?
No, I've got actually a Group 44 Triumph Tune Performance valve cover.
Nice. What kind of motor is it? Tell me. Displacement, how many cylinders, that sort of thing.
It's the TR6 came with a straight 6, 2,400 cc's displacement. The early TR6, which came out in 1969, with the twin carburetor setup, would produce, the UK version would produce almost 150 horsepower because they could put a fuel injection system in it, but that was not imported to the US because of emission issues. So the US version of it, usually about 120 to 130 horsepower in the early cars. 1976, which is mine, is the last year they made the TR6, and by that time, progressively more strict emission standards in the U.S. caused them to take compression out of the engine. They put different things on it to control the emissions, which robbed it of horsepower. So my car originally, probably at best, may have produced 110 horsepower. By the time I bought it, it was probably down closer to 100, but my rebuild, we've got it back up probably to 125, 130.
Which isn't bad in a what do they weigh, about 2,400 pounds, 2,500
Yeah,
pounds?
just over 2,400. Yeah.
Pretty lightweight car, so that powertrain in it, but that's very typical of the British roadsters. You know, they weren't high-powered cars, but they were well-powered cars because they were so lightweight.
What was the transmission in it?
The stock transmission was a 4-speed, and they offered an option for an electronic overdrive.
So was that a bolt on to the back of the transmission, or was that built into it?
Yeah, it bolts onto the top of the gearbox, and the electronic switch is usually on the left-hand side of the steering column, right next to your blinker switch.
Interesting.
I want to turn left, or I want to overdrive. Which one?
Exactly.
Maybe both.
Overdrive, particularly if you want to do any traveling at highway speed. The 4-speed, at 60 or 70 miles an hour, it's really kind of noisy, and the engine doesn't like it, and it's hard on your ears. And the overdrive makes it a lot more comfortable for a cruising car.
Do you drive it frequently, Hal?
I do. Yeah, I almost every weekend I'll at least start it up and back it out and drive it around the neighborhood just to keep all the fluids going. And I enjoy driving it when the weather's good.
Yeah, and I know Stein says you guys go out on cruises with some regularity.
We do. We have 3 different trips as a club every year, one in the spring, one in the winter, and one in the fall. Which, for example, last Saturday, we had our spring Bluebonnet drive. That we had 23 cars, drove out through Navasota, Brenham,
wow.
looking at wildflowers every spring, and 23 of us in a row.
And all of you made it back together?
We did. No breakdowns. Everybody does keep their AAA card current.
Yeah, no doubt.
Actually, one of the things our club prides ourselves in is that we actually do drive our cars. There are very few what you'd call trailer queens in the club that are not driven, but we like to get them on the road. We like to get them out and enjoy driving them. In fact, there's a hardcore group in our club that a man named Dave Smith organizes every year, every spring, into a cross-country trip that spans about 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
This year will be I retired a couple of years ago, so I can afford to take the time now. So May the 7th, we are leaving for a 2-week drive. There will be 8 of us, 8 cars going out toward Tucson, up through Arizona, into Utah to the Grand Canyon, and back across through the northern New Mexico area.
So do you get followed around by a flatbed or a pickup truck with a flatbed trailer, just in case?
We have enticed a friend of mine who's not a Triumph owner to go along with us and drive one of the guys' F-150, which has the speed jack and numerous spare parts as our chase vehicle.
The just-in-case truck.
The just-in-case truck. So one of the things that comes to mind is I have a perfect event for a bunch of you guys, and that would be to head on over to the Lupi Tortilla and the next Tailpipes and Tacos event out there in Katy, and join us out there on a Saturday morning for Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. Stan is a big Triumph guy.
Yeah, he has one.
He has one, and so he would love to see you guys actually show up out there. And it's a good turnout, and I think that you would really enjoy it.
Well, that'd be terrific. If one of you would send me the contact information for him, we'd do that.
Sure.
We have every Saturday morning, there's a group of us that meet for breakfast. It's open to everybody in the club, and depending on the weather and the time of year, we'll have anywhere from 10 to over 20 people show up for breakfast. And when the weather's good, obviously we drive our cars, and kind of an impromptu mini car show appears in the restaurant parking lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, and they serve breakfast there. It's breakfast tacos. Yep. They do mimosas and Bloody Marys and coffee for those who really want coffee.
And there's no tea sippers there, so I don't know if that would turn anybody off in the Triumph Club, but I just had to throw that in there.
But there's also places to sit, tables and chairs to sit around Yeah, definitely. We'll get with you and give you. send
Or,
you the
or
info.
Hallie, what you could do is listen to the show because we're playing a commercial every 30 minutes that promotes the next tailpipes and tacos. Just saying. Not to put the pressure on you or anything.
Loopy
Well, I
Tortillas,
know
Kingsland in '99.
We have a tailpipes and tacos here in Bel Air every few weeks too.
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, I think that we've attended a couple of those at the Loopy Tortilla down there off of Kirby Drive. So, yeah, that's the son. Stan is the founder, and his show is out there at the Katy location, and make a great run for you guys. Get on the loop, head on over to I-10 and out to Katy out there at the Beltway, Kingsland Boulevard, and 99.
And Don will get a hold of Stan and make sure his triumph's there as well.
Yeah, make it a triumph weekend.
Because our club members are scattered all over the city, from Pearland to Katy to the Woodlands, many of us inside the loop. Every Saturday morning, our venues are scattered all over the city. Plenty of times we're in Katy and all of those places to make it close to somebody's home every week, but not all the time.
Well, I think it'll be a good fit for you. Well, Hal, it's great to talk to you. Texas Triumph Registry. And I know that Conrad's going to put a link up there for everybody that's interested, and we hope to see you at the next Tailpipes and Tacos.
Well, terrific. We will try and get that on our calendar. And I appreciate the invitation. Enjoy the visit, guys.
Thank you. We enjoyed it as well.
Thanks.
And we'd love to hear from you. Just shoot us an email. Our address here is info@inwheeltime.com. Time now for This Week in Automotive History. And Conrad, who's filling in for Jeff on the button pushing over here, has This Week in Auto History.
Yeah. So in 1934, Ford Motor Company announced the white sidewall tires as an option on its vehicles at a cost of $11.25 per set. In 1944, Henry Ford II was named executive vice president. Oh, and I'm executive vice president of Ford Motor Company. And then in 1947, his dad passed away. The father of modern assembly lines died due to cerebral hemorrhage in Dearborn, and his estate has become quite the museum, and he's buried in Ford Cemetery in Detroit.
There he is, dead in the casket.
Dead in the casket. Hi, Henry. Also in This Week in Automotive History, or in history, 1965, the 57 years ago, the eighth wonder of the world, it's a Houston thing. The Houston Astros played their very first game in the new Astrodome indoor stadium against the New York Yankees in front of a sold-out crowd of 47,000 people.
I was there standing outside the door that night.
And had no idea what was going on inside because you're not a sports guy. You got free tickets from the radio station and figured you'd go.
No,
you
this
didn't
is
go
before
in?
the radio station. No, I didn't have tickets.
Oh, okay. Mickey Mantle hit the first home run in the Astrodome.
Good for him.
Well, I'm a Mickey Mantle fan. In 1969, Harley Earl, the automotive stylist and engineer from General Motors, passed away due to a stroke in West Palm Beach, Florida. He was 75 years old. Earl was most famous for the Y Job, which is the car pictured here, which was the kind of the first custom car of the late 40s, and then he also did the Motorama stuff with this bus. And I think there were 38 of these made altogether, and I think there's still like
the Motorama buses,
15 of them left. And then he was also the stylist of the first Corvette. So, but yeah, Earl has gone. In 1977, Earl has left the building. In 1977, General Motors announced that it had dropped plans to produce a Wankel rotary engine on the grounds of its poor fuel economy and would hurt sales. And actually, there was a plan originally for the Wankel in a Corvette, of all things. And then shortly after that, Mazda releases the Wankel in the RX-7, and it's a monstrous hit. That is This Week in Automotive History.
I have to tell you about the Wankel and my experience with the Wankel. Craig has Chrome and Coffee the first Sunday of every month. So I usually appear there. Magically
appear. Oh, so they give you an appearance fee?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you are
huge.
a member of the Broadcasters Hall of Fame.
Okay, well, whatever. This is about the Wankel engine, okay? And there was a guy that had a Wankel that he had massaged into major horsepower.
Oh, yeah.
You should hear this thing. It was amazing to listen to because it sounds like nothing else that you've ever heard in your entire life. Started it up and, asking him questions. Oh, this and this and this and this and a spark plug here and a spark plug there. And none of it
Here
makes
plug,
it.
there plug, everywhere spark plug.
Nothing of it makes any sense. Nothing of it makes any sense. It's truly an amazing work of art.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much all it is because it can't ever get through any kind of emissions test.
Because it's an oil burner.
It's an oil burner, yep.
And there was a Wankel, Mazda ran a Wankel that won Le Mans. And they said the sound.
Seriously?
Oh, yeah. There's 997, something like that. And it won Le Mans back in the 80s. And they said the sound of that going down the Mulsanne Straight was ear-splitting. That's how loud it was.
I was amazed. First of all, I'd never seen one run. Not that you can see anything, but to hear it and to hear a souped-up one, it was mind-blowing. I had no clue.
Yeah, and then as they boost power, they just add another pack of rotors to it. 2-rotor, 3-rotor, and a 4-rotor.
I don't even know if you could explain it to me how the thing.
It's an amazing design that had a lot of potential, but didn't work.
Time now for this week's auto news headlines. Got some recalls to tell you about. 2022 Ford Transit rear view camera may not display correctly, may not operate at all. Same thing for the Ford Transit 22 rear view camera display may not operate correctly. So it may not operate, and then if it does operate, it may not operate correctly. So it's being recalled. Inlet charge port harness bus bar may loosen on the Lincoln Aviator PHEV for 2022. Ford F-150 transmission may shift into neutral while driving on the 2021 model.
Yikes.
Inadequate front windshield adhesion. I love that. In the Ford Transit Connect for 2016 and 2020 model years.
When the airbag goes off, it spits the windshield out.
Right out the
hood.
front of it, yeah. That I could only see that in my mind. That would be a funny thing. Roof rail airbags may not deploy on the Buick Enclave and the Chevy Traverse for 2020 and through 2022. And unsecured steering module electrical connector in the Mercedes-Benz S500.
Ooh, that's an expensive car.
For 2021. Yeah, it's an expensive car to get fixed, too. And that would be one of those things that you'd not want to ignore.
No.
The Mercedes-Benz Maybach.
That's even more expensive.
S580. Improper deployment of rear airbags. Seatbelt pretensioners.
So that means the Grey Poupon is center punched in your head?
Apparently.
Bouncing around.
Seatbelt pretensioners may explode in the Hyundai Accent and Elantra for 2020 through 2022. And the Land Rover, Range Rover, and Range Rover Sport 2016 through 2017. The seatbelt may not lock. That would not be good if you're hurtling through the windshield. Ram plans to unveil a concept of its electric 1500 pickup.
I read that
this year. Mike Koval, CEO, said the company is consulting the public about the electric pickup's design through Ram Real Talk Tour, series of conversations with consumers at various events. The brand says these interactions will help it better understand what the next generation of Ram pickups and vans must do to meet their needs. Ram says it will offer fully electrified solutions in the majority of segments where it competes by 2025. The brand says they will have a full portfolio of electrified vehicles and models no later than 2030.
And it's interesting because wasn't that announced at the New York Auto Show?
Yes, they did a tease.
Yeah.
And I've got a story on that later on.
And then GMC, Buick, and Cadillac didn't go to the New York Auto Show, just like they didn't come to the Houston Auto Show. So what are they thinking?
They're not, but they're paying their CEOs exorbitant amounts of money. And I happen to have a story about Carlos Tavares with Stellantis and the board of directors going, oh, no, you're not making that kind of dough. No, no, no. There's a song in that somewhere.
Well, we had an earlier song.
The electric vehicle maker, Tesla, in February recalled 579,000 Tesla Model S, X, and Y vehicles from the 2020 to 22 model years in the Model 3 vehicles from 2017 to 22 for failing to comply with Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards on minimum sound requirements for hybrids and EVs. They actually do a recall on this?
Yeah. Again, this is, remember, I've talked about compliance recalls and safety recalls. This means
so
it didn't follow
stupid.
some dumbass rule.
NHTSA said Tesla's boombox function allows sounds to be played through an external speaker while the vehicle's in motion, potentially obscuring the warning sound that alerts pedestrians to an approaching vehicle.
Yeah, my silent electric car is coming. Get out of the way. My Tesla is coming.
Me.
What Elon needs to do is they need to tie in different engine sounds that you could, make it sound like a Ferrari or a Yugo or a Corvette or a Hemi Charger or something like that.
But I thought that was one of the advantages of an EV was quiet.
I have a friend of mine that has a Tesla, and he's got a fart sound on it, and he can play it in the speaker out front. So I walk in the door the other day, and I didn't know that he was in the car.
I thought it was you.
And I opened the door, and it goes...
Don had to go check himself.
It was absolutely stupendous.
And that's all the lead in to our next guest.
That's it for
At
this
the top
hour
of
of
the hour.
In-Wheel Time. The In-Wheel Time car talk show continues right after this.
Father's Day weekend, Saturday, June 18th, 2022. It's the next Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In, and you're invited. Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition will be at the same Loopy Tortilla in Katy, 8 to 11 a.m. on Saturday, June 18th. It's the only place cruisers compete for trophies and other prizes. Enter your vehicle for Best Hot Rod, Best Classic, and Best Modern Classic. Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's coolest cruise in and is your opportunity to see the best hot rods, show cars, classics, and resto mods, and get Loopy Tortilla breakfast tacos and adult beverages. There's no entry fee, and cars will automatically compete for custom Loopy trophies and other prizes. It all happens at the Loopy Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Kick off summer with Tailpipes and Tacos Father's Day edition, Saturday, June 18th. The In Real Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Celebrate Father's Day, the start of summer, and the return of Tailpipes and Tacos. Saturday morning, June 18th, 8 to 11. We'll see you then, weather permitting.
Tony Stewart Racing joins the NHRA Camping World Drag Racing Series, and his drivers, Leah Pruitt and Matt Hagan, will face off against NHRA stars including the legendary John Force Racing Team. Don't miss this battle of horsepower and performance. It's the final NHRA Spring Nationals event at Houston Raceway Park. Don't miss it, April 22nd through 24th. This is your last chance for nitro action in Baytown. Tickets at HoustonRaceway.com.
The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show is now part of the iHeart family. Now you'll have access to 24/7 car talk anytime you need a fix. Just download the iHeart Radio app and ask for In-Wheel Time Car Talk, and there we are. Be sure to save us in your iHeart library for instant access. No matter where you are, you have the best car talk show right on your PC, laptop, or mobile device and never have to worry about finding us again. Of course, you can always get access to our video and audio streams via InWheelTime.com and your favorite podcast channel, and all of this is free to you. From the iHeart Radio app, you'll not only hear our Saturday morning live show, but the best shows of the past, updated weekly. Never miss a minute of up-to-date new car reviews, pre-owned reviews, Konrad's Car Clinic, informative interviews, automotive news, and the most fun car talk show on the planet. Just download the iHeart Radio app, search for In-Wheel Time Car Talk, save it to your library, and with a tap of the icon, you'll be in touch with your favorite car talk team. In-Wheel Time Car Talk, streaming now on iHeart.com/In-Wheel Time Car Talk. That's it for this podcast episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.